Hello and welcome to Vaz+Harwood Academy for Agents. Today, our topic is mastering your calendar. So what to do with all the time that you have as someone who went into business for themselves, right? You don't want to work on someone else's schedule and time. So how do you make your time work for you?
Yeah, hello everyone who's watching this, and hi Grace, thanks for popping in.
So my name is Nora Harry. I'm the Director of Operations for the Vaz+Harwood team. I'm joined by Andy Harwood, the Harwood of Vaz+Harwood. And we're going to kick this thing off and help us all master our time a little bit better.
Sounds good. And we thought about this class because we've uh, gotten some of these ideas from Keller Williams and from other things that we've attended, and Nora's had some things in her other jobs in the past that have given her really good insights into this too. And when when um, when we work for ourselves, I think a lot of the reason that we want to work for ourselves is because we can have all this freedom. But then that's where, in my experience personally, and I'm saying this totally from what I've experienced personally, is you have all this freedom, but that can often be the problem, right? Where you have all these goals, you have all these dreams, all these things you want to do, and thinking it doesn't get it done. And a lot of the block is, does it ever make it onto your calendar? And mastering your calendar um, is just a key skill. And my calendar is certainly not perfect. It's always a process, right? We're always learning, improving, and whatever. So I need this class as much as anybody, just to kind of get some, our own refreshers. Right, Nora?
Yes, exactly. Oh, too far. Okay. So this is a class about, what we found to help with, mastering your calendar, like Andy said. But does anyone have something specific that they're struggling to get on their calendar or keep on their calendar? Does anyone have something they want to share? Make sure we cover?
I'll just jump in and say that for me, the biggest thing that I struggle with is actually the most important thing. It's a time block for lead generation and creating social media content and things that are going to drive the business forward. It's always a challenge to protect that. I've got it on my calendar, but things tend to fill it up, and it's always a challenge to when things fill it up, when am I going to do it? And it ironically, the most important thing is the first thing that doesn't get done too much of the time. It's
Mhm.
always a battle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Pardon, my computer wants to be a little bit lagging today, so I don't want to double click and jump us too far.
Is it working? Oh, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we already said this.
Yep.
I jumped ahead. I'm good at that.
All good.
Yeah. So this is something that I've struggled with over years in real estate too, is that realizing that if you don't have a plan for your calendar and you don't master your schedule and at least have an idea of when you want to do things, you're always going to be in reactive mode and always living by someone else's calendar.
Yes, absolutely. Because then, think about it like how you are talking to your clients, like what times work for you, right? So we need to change that mindset and see, and instead show that you're a professional who has, a busy schedule, but you're also professional and give them options, right? So, I'm available at X time and X time. Which of those work for you, right? So we'll
I
get
don't
more.
know why in real estate, well, maybe I do know why, because real estate has such unusual hours and agents call highest and best on Saturday and Sunday, and buyers need to see things right away and whatever. But I think about every other professional person, and they've got appointment slots, they've got more control over their calendar. And so I think sometimes we think that we can't because our profession doesn't allow it. And I don't think that's true. I think we have to have some flexibility. Like, we're never going to be exactly like a dentist or something. But we can go a long ways with some of these tips to being more professional and having controlling our calendar and having a life more the way we want it.
Yes. So speaking of that, we're going to get into a little bit of like, valuing your time best, right? And the life that you want, leading into that. So we'll see if this wants to cooperate.
Computer's slow today.
I know. Okay.
There we go. Keep going. So if anyone's not familiar with this concept, kind of the 80/20 rule, and in real estate, we tend to say that the our top 20% of most important activities is probably going to be lead generation of some kind, however you define it. For some people that might be yeah, for some people that might be if all your business comes from social media, that might be your time to make the posts that you need to for today. It might be the time when you do handwritten cards or whatever, but that's your most high value time.
Absolutely.
Let me keep going.
Yep. Just trying to. My computer seems to think it has more valuable time somewhere else too.
Yeah. Yeah, and so one of the things that we can lose sight of too is what is your dollar per hour in terms of time? Are you using your best time to do things that are not the highest dollar per hour activities? So think about where you actually make your money. And for most of us in real estate, it's obviously lead generation, lead follow up, and I catch myself uh, responding to emails, browsing social media, all that kind of stuff at times when it's high quality time that I should be using for something else.
Mhm. Speaking of checking email, Andy, right? This is Andy's favorite graphic that he likes to talk about, the Eisenhower matrix, right? Okay, fancy term, but basically
Is that what it
breaking,
is? I didn't know that.
yeah. So basically what it is breaking down, like Andy's saying, your highest dollar per hour activities, right? So checking email, if you're looking on this graph of urgent and important, right? Checking email most of the time is going to be, not urgent but important, right? So it's going to fall in this, oh well, lead gen, but also it could fall under the notifications too, urgent, not important, depending on what the email is, right? But a lot of times it's not going to be super time sensitive, it's not going to be urgent important, right? But lead gen, this is where it gets tricky, is where you need to look at and reassess your time a little bit, right? It's not urgent, right? There's no notification on your lead gen unless you put it on your calendar and you give yourself a notification, right? But for you, it's going to feel not urgent because it's not something that needs to be solved right now. But truly, when you think about your business, it is something that you have to be doing every day. Otherwise, you're not going to have business in the future. Andy, I know you have more thoughts on this.
Well, we have so many things now that pretend to be urgent, and a lot of them actually are not urgent. We're just getting notifications for things all the time now and on these watches and whatever. And you can obviously control all that stuff however you want to. But I think whether you do that or not, it's just become like aware of this helped me a lot when I started understanding that your money is made in the not urgent but important quadrant, right? Like that's the stuff that probably, see, we don't have a boss, who's giving us um, telling us what we have to do. And so there's no urgency around it, and we can do it later or we'll get to it or whatever, but that's actually the most important stuff. Um, and those are the critical things that we have to use our calendar for and get some mastery, otherwise we'll never get them done.
Mm-hmm. Lots more can be said on that, but let's get into the meat of it, right? So time blocking, right? Oh, some of you have probably heard about this. Some of you might roll your eyes when you hear time blocking, right? But there is a critical feature about this that's really important to helping us kind of master working for ourselves, right? Because, the reason we didn't want to work for somebody else, right, is I don't want to do a 9 to 5, right? Oh, okay. Maybe if you're using your time valuably, you don't have to put that in, but there should be allotted time to work on your business, right? And it's important to figure out what that allotted time looks like for you. It's going to look different for everybody, right? When's your highest and best time, but also what other commitments do you have in your life, right, that take time away from when you could be working on your business. It's going to look different for everybody.
Totally.
So in order to make an effective time block calendar, right, we could just say, make a time block calendar and stick stuff on it, right? That can be an overwhelming activity for a lot of us, right? It's like, well, I think I should do this, 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 and this, right? And you just put arbitrary blocks on the calendar. Really, it's important to kind of work backwards a little bit and figure out first what things even belong on there, right? Slot them into where they are, because some of them have defined times and they're not going to change, right? So if you make your time block calendar, you say, I'm going to lead generate at this time, but you have a standing, kid pickup or kid drop off, or, other activity that's been on your calendar for a long time, then your time block calendar is already shot. So do this brain dump activity first, right? Right. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and put what falls into those buckets normally. Non-work related things that are important and you're not going to move.
Also, I had a big aha about this when I started feeling like I was so busy at one point, and honestly, I was making enough money that I considered hiring a driver, like somebody or an assistant or somebody to pick up my kids from school. And then I had a realization that that I'm not going to do that. That's quality time for me. Maybe it wouldn't be for everybody, but that was something that was non-negotiable to me. That I'm going to put the kid pickups and drop-offs and lessons and things like that, and that's what I want to do for my family because those are precious times and years that I'm not going to get back. Um, so that was the first thing. That's the first thing that goes on my calendar. Now looking at 2024, when I refresh this for the year, I'm going to put all the kids' stuff on there. It could be a date night with your spouse. It could be, things that no, I'm not going to schedule over that unless I absolutely have to. Put
Yes.
them
And
down first.
especially date night, right? If your spouse is not in real estate, right, and they very much know that oftentimes you get called to do showings or something like that, put something on there and be like, I value you and I'm not going to schedule over you. So if someone wants to do a showing on this day, I'm just gonna be like, you know what, I'm not available that evening. How about this evening? So make this time block calendar. If you use Google Calendar, iCal, whatever, after you've done your brain dump, we're going to make a holding place. So where this is all going to live. You could do it paper and pen if you want, but I really like the flexibility of making it digitally first, right? Because then you can always print it out afterwards, right? Make it digitally so you can move your blocks around as needed, as you're kind of finessing what your time block calendar should look like.
Well, yeah, and some people love paper calendars. Every paper calendar I've tried has been a disaster, but that's just me. Um, so I know what works for me. And if you know what works for you, use your system. We're going to use the Google Calendar or iCal or whatever because that's what we that's what we default to.
Yes. So like Andy was saying, his kid times are valuable to him and he doesn't want to compromise on those. So he's got like kids lessons, kid pickups right on here, right? So he's not doing anything in the afternoon between next time and next time. He's not doing anything these evenings between this time and this time. So those are things that you're committing to yourself, right? If you're in a soccer club, right, and you do soccer every night at like 7 or 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10, I know some people do really late soccer clubs, right? If you're in something, you have that time block on there, you're not working then, right? If you attend religious services on the weekend, that time is out for you, right? If that's important to you. If you're somebody who is really active in a book club or something, right? Put that on there. All those personal non-negotiables.
And some of those things can help your business too. Those might be places where you meet people, you have social interactions and
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, could be valuable lead gen for you too, accidentally or on purpose.
Yeah.
So next, think about your year too, right? So you've written down your weekly things that occur, right? Now think about your whole year, right? Have you planned out your vacations? Do you know you always take a week off around Christmas time, right? To be with family? Do you know that you always do a 4th of July trip, right? So put those time blocks on the calendar too, because that's going to be effective for you as you're projecting ahead, right? So if you're looking at, for example, you do a 4th of July trip, you're looking at the week of 4th of July, right? Monday, Tuesday, oh, I won't be here. I need to figure out when my lead gen time blocks are going to be for this week and maybe double up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
This is a great time right now, November or December, especially if you've done any goal planning, business planning for the year ahead, to think about that stuff like vacations and major things. You probably are going to know that in August you want to take a trip somewhere or whatever. Put those things down now and put a block on. And you could also think about things that are going to take time for your goals. I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but if you're going to do a certain number of open houses next year, you could even sketch those out. Of course, you can't predict it exactly, but you can start to plan ahead
Yes.
rather than be reactive completely. So here, um, this is going to look a little different for different people, but I think most people, myself included, our best time is in the morning. That's after we've slept, our brains are fresh. It's the highest quality time that we have. So you want to pick, if possible, use your best quality time for the most important part of your business, which is probably going to be lead generation, lead follow-up, or some other, thing that dovetails with that that's driving your business forward. If you can, if you're in real estate full time, pick your best time and put a 2 or 3 hour time block for that on your calendar. We have people right now on our team who have part-time jobs. They're working around other things. So work with what you've got, but use the best time that you have for that.
Mm-hmm.
If your time is
And
very limited, you might only be able to do this right now.
yeah, and think about too, like, people are not requesting appointments normally at 9 a.m. in the morning. Like occasionally you might have somebody who wants to do one then, right? But most of the time, 9 a.m. to, people are doing afternoon appointments. They might want an early evening appointment, right? So I hope you're someone who wants to wake up and start your day early. If you're not, maybe it's valuable to your business to maybe start working, a little bit earlier every day, right? Because that way you don't lose your momentum, right? Because your day is starting at 11.
Totally. So then, after you've picked your best quality time um, for lead generation, schedule your appointment blocks. And you, I before kind of understanding how this worked, I was like, well, how can I do that? I'm never going to know when somebody's available. Well, you want to stop thinking about it that way. Think about when you want to do appointments with people, and especially if you have an assistant or staff or somebody helping you, or even other people in your life, like a spouse or other people who count on you. It's helpful for other people to know when you're most likely going to do appointments. Oh, Andy is busy in the morning doing calls or follow-ups or whatever, and then he does appointments in the afternoon. So if you're available, it makes it so much easier to be able to offer times to clients. Like I've got an open slot tomorrow at 12:30, 3:30, and 5 o'clock. And if you can space these out for driving time too, fortunately in the Twin Cities, we can get almost everywhere within half an hour. Not everywhere, but almost everywhere. So if you want to leave at least half an hour between appointments, that way you could tell somebody, sometimes if I do back-to-back appointments, I can, and it's going to be longer driving time or traffic or whatever, we can make it a 45-minute appointment. We can be more efficient.
Yeah, and it's because a lot of times, right, appointments can go long, right, unintendedly or intendedly, right? So, set that expectation up front. I'm happy to meet you at 4:30 on Tuesday, but I have a hard stop at 5:15 because I have another commitment to get to, right? We can take care of everything we need in those 45 minutes.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. So I found it very helpful to schedule a flex time, however you want to define it for yourself. Have a flex time on your calendar when you are planning on multitasking with some things, or you could use it for different things. Because if you've got a set time to return emails, check your messages, that sort of thing, that way you could put your phone aside or stay focused when you're doing the other things that you are going to get distracted by all the notifications on. And you can also start training your customers that they're going to get a response later. Now, not everything can wait, right? But what I tend to do is uh, do a quick check in the morning just to see if there's anything urgent, and then leave everything else until later in the day if I can
Hmm.
do that, or let them know I'll get back to them in the afternoon.
Hmm.
Um, and I can do this stuff during the kid pickups too. I can make calls while I'm driving. I mean, we all have these car things now. Um, or I also have time when I'm waiting for the kids to come out of school. I do a lot of return calls and things like that then, when that time can be reclaimed
Yep.
for that.
Yep.
It's actually a really good time. I think in my career, checking social media is actually important because I've got agents on our team. I need to like their posts. I need to see their stuff. I need to like our team posts too. So often when I park the car and wait for a kid to come out of school, that's a perfect time to go through Facebook and, heart response, heart, and then that time's used efficiently.
And this kind of dovetails with what you were just saying too, right? Leave time for catch up and flex time, right? Because so often, and I see agents do this all the time, agents on our team, agents that, I'm helping get a little organized, right? Which I love doing. And I see they're like, oh yeah, I cleaned out my email. I feel so productive today, right? I spent 2 hours cleaning out my email, and they're saying it like it's an accomplishment. And I know that they feel accomplished, right? But did that forward their business? No, right? Was it mostly just deleting emails from NAR, MNAR that were all saying the same thing, right? Just at different levels of importance. Yeah, right. Cleaning out signings, old signings, etc. So that is the stuff that you shouldn't be spending 2 hours doing, right? Just do like 15 minutes when you have 15 minutes, do something here, do something there, right? Clean it out, but don't use that 2 hour block to lead generate. Use that 2 hour time block to do lead follow up, because that's where your business will get the most um, leverage and on ramp.
Yeah, Nora has a whole class on email management too, to make it really efficient, set up filters and all that kind of stuff. It's really good. Helped me a lot.
Yes. So this is an example of what Andy's time block calendar currently looks like, right? He's got more appointment slots, right?
I've
They
even,
are they are a
I've
little
even
back
got
to
it.
back, but he didn't quite build in the
I've even got it up here too. I turned all my calendars off for you.
yes.
So so this is the whole thing currently. So I've got, my kid drop offs, quick check of email in the morning. We do a morning call on our team every day at 8:45. And then I've got that high quality time block in the morning. Here's our academy class on Thursday. That's this,
Hmm.
just time blocked. And then here's the other thing that I like is having a little bit of space in there if possible. I think I've tried over scheduling myself and it doesn't work. Um, so try to have a little bit of, you know, be realistic. Try to have a little flex time in there.
And I'll add, like, not all these 4 appointment slots on Tuesday are going to get filled, right? But like,
Right.
these are all options that you can give to people, right? And then they can get filled as needed, right?
I know, like tomorrow, I'm doing showings here Friday, from about 4 o'clock on. That got filled with showings. So appointment could be showing, it could be listing appointment, buyer consult, whatever. Or it could be this that got moved there because something screwed up your morning. Or not, or didn't screw it up. It just something got urgent. A buyer had to see houses because highest and best is at noon, or that kind of thing. So that's what I was gonna. Is it okay to segue into that here, Nora? That
Mhm. Yeah.
how do we, what happens when here you can take over again. So we have a plan, right? Now we have a plan, but no day is ever going to go exactly like this, or most days aren't. Let's be realistic. Something is always going to mess it up. And but it's a lot better than not having a plan. And in my experience, it's going to get a lot less messed up because you're offering people times instead of just saying when are you free, and you're reminded of what you promised yourself you'd be doing when to help your business. Um, but when things do, yeah, I'm jumping ahead into some of the strategies here for real life. But if you don't have an appointment and you missed your lead gen time, you can replace it, then do that later, do that then.
And that's why it's nice to have it digital, right? Especially if you're on the go, because you can just drag and drop, right? To rearrange. And if it's on your calendar, it exists. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist, right?
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I don't keep that calendar on all the time. I keep it in the background. Like it's that time blocking calendar is off on my Google calendars, but I can always turn it back on. I can make a printout and have it taped on my wall, or just at this point I remember. I know basically what is on it. Um, so it's just a plan that's in the background. It's like a sketch.
Right. Because yeah, stuff will come up, like Andy was saying, right? Someone needs to see something for highest and best. Kid will get sick, need to go to the doctor, right? You're sick, you need to go to the doctor. The snow weather is bad, right? And so I can't go into the office. Guess what? You can lead gen from anywhere. Distractions come up, social media, big life events, big world events, right? Good things come up too, right? Awesome opportunities to go to something, to spend time with someone coming into town, etc. Or you just lost your groove, right? So do you have a reliable plan to get back to so that you can maximize best use of your time?
Yeah, so don't beat yourself up if you fell off the bandwagon too. Just remind yourself that you had good reasons for this, and maybe you just need to try again next week or tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's helpful, like, right, so if you have this time block calendar, if you have your regular calendar too, are you sharing it with your admins? Are you sharing it with your spouse, right? So they know what's going on, where to expect you to be when you have free time, right? When they can give you a call about something, or when you can like go meet up to take care of something together. It's always good to communicate time expectations.
Yeah, and again, when we're in real estate or self-employed, people around you may not, they just don't realize. It's not that they don't respect your time, or maybe it is, I don't know. But it might be that they just don't realize that these are the things you need to be doing at those times, and so you have to teach them and train them. And you can't do that if you haven't figured it out for yourself yet.
Mhm.
If you erase, replace, yeah. If there's something that you needed to get done in that high quality time, if you didn't get it done, move it, put it somewhere else, get it
Yep.
done.
Mhm. All right, so some strategies, right? Move items from, so this is again in your not quality time, right? When you're checking email, right? Not during your lead gen focus time, right? Move items from your inbox to a to-do list to your calendar, right? If there's a project that you want to get done, if you owe someone a response on something, if you need to, book, someone emailed you, they wanted to do some showings. Okay, great. Let's get that on the calendar, right? You've moved it out of your inbox. Because if you're only operating on your inbox and using that to designate where your time should be spent, you're gonna lose your momentum, lose your habits, lose your lead gen time, right? And just get mired in inbox, right? I'm waiting for something to come in, right? That happens a lot to us as agents, right? I don't have anything urgent in my inbox. I guess I have a light day today, right? That's not where what should be controlling your time. It should be your goals for yourself, your lead gen and lead follow-up time, because that's what's going to forward your business.
Yeah, this is where a lot of us, this is like the missing link is we get reminded of something we need to do by our inbox or maybe our to-do list, but does it make it onto the calendar? And if it doesn't make it onto your calendar, it probably doesn't exist.
Mhm. So this kind of goes back to right inbox zero, right? If you practice this regularly, this can help you stay focused on your time block and your lead gen time, right? This is hard for some people. I totally get that. Mine is not at 0, but I'd say mine's at about 7 right
That's
now.
what I was gonna say. Mine's at about 5 to 10.
Yeah, and those things are the things that I have left yet to take care of, right? That need to move onto my calendar and have a time to just get dealt with, right? But because it's low, right? I'm not sitting there being like, okay, what's in my inbox that has to get taken care of? I'm like, all right, I have time to work on my project from this time to this time from an admin side, right? Or to assist with focusing my agents on their lead gen time, right? What are we doing today to lead generate, right? And like get in front of people. I can help focus them a little bit too. So I have a class on this inbox zero. It's on our YouTube page too, that you guys can access.
Awesome.
Similar, do, delete, delegate. Andy is a big proponent of this. So am I, right? Are you the right person who needs to do with it? Does anything actually need to be done with it? Can you archive it and come back to it later if you want? Can it be auto filtered so all your NAR, MNAR, SPAR updates go into a folder, right? So that the clutter of your inbox is less, so you spend less time cleaning out your inbox, right? And you're again going back to that quality time to spend on lead gen, lead follow-up.
Great. I think that's about it.
Yes. I think there's something here about holidays too, though, that's helpful.
Holidays and weekend.
Well, and how to set expectations for clients.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We touched on this a bit. Just start to get in the habit or practice your scripts of offering people times. You be the one to offer them times. They will. It's a subtle psychological switch too that now they know that you have a calendar. Oh, Andy has appointment slots. Okay, I must need to get into an appointment slot. Can you make an exception? Of course, but that's up to you.
Mhm.
Start with the times that you put on your appointment time blocks and
And
offer those.
I'm going to add on this that taking care of yourself is important too, right? If you're somebody who like, you have a standing haircut or a massage or something like that, right? You'd be like, right? Oh, I'm not available at the time. I have an appointment, right? You don't need to tell your client you're getting a haircut, right? Because then they feel like, well, I'm more important than a haircut, right? Don't say
Exactly.
you're getting a haircut. Just say you have an appointment, right? And so I'm not available at the time, but here are my other appointment slots that I have available for you, right?
Keep it
But
simple. I'm not available at that time, but I could do this, this, and this.
yes.
And I'd say maybe 5% of the time it doesn't work. Like, right? Somebody will say, I'm not available any of those times either. Now you can make a decision. Do I make an exception? Do I
Mhm.
have a listing appointment at $1 million property? Not that price should be more important than one or the other, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, is there something, should I cancel the haircut? That's a decision between you and yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah,
Yep.
similar what we were just saying. And then you can build stuff so and prepare people in advance, right? So if one of your clients, right, Thanksgiving's coming up, right? So if one of your clients, contacts you on Friday, right, and you're like, I go to my Aunt Susie's Friday and we go Black Friday shopping or whatever, and that's something you always do, right? But you didn't communicate it to your clients, right? Your active clients that are looking out and going up to see properties, right? And then they say Friday that they want to go see a house, right? Then you're gonna either feel a little conflicted or you're gonna be a little maybe like resentful, like, oh, I should have I don't want to cancel on Aunt Susie, whatever. So just proactively tell your clients, you know what, I'm unavailable Thursday and Friday. Guess what? They're probably going to respect that because they probably want, time with their families too. And they're going to feel like they need to squeeze in a showing, right? Be like, you know what, I'm not available Thursday and Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be all yours. So if there's something you need to see, we can go see it right away on Saturday morning. I'm blocking off my time for you if we need to.
Yeah, you can also prepare them by saying, I'm off these 2 days, this holiday weekend. If there is an emergency, call me. Just tell
Yep.
them what to do. If you know, yeah,
Yep. And you can also use your email signature too. We have this in our email footers for everything, right? Please note all emails received after 5 p.m. or over the weekend will be returned the following business day, right? So, it's a little softer, right, way to do it, but then people have a little bit of an expectation. We actually used to set up an out of office email in the evenings that said, thanks so much for your email, we'll get back to you the next business day. It was a lot to turn back on and off, so we just put it in our email footers, right? And we'll, if something was urgent, then they would call or text us, right?
yep, yep.
Mm. Oh, this one's important, Andy, so feel free to talk about this one.
Yeah, well, I think when we were getting our business going initially, and I still catch myself doing this too much, just working all the time, telling kids I'm going to do things, saying I'll be available at 5, and then I'm not anymore, and kids pick up on this, and I would encourage myself and everybody to um, be be conscious if you're making a promise to someone, especially a child, about what you're going to do. And you could put that on your calendar too. You could take it seriously enough to put it on your calendar and then not schedule over it.
Mhm.
Challenge yourself that if you can do that to your kids, partner, people you care about.
Yep. And then social media, this is the great time suck, right? We all know that, right? Whether it's in the morning when we're supposed to, or during the workday when we're supposed to be productive, or in our evenings, right? When we're trying to unwind a little, right? Most people are consumers and lurkers, right? Not lurking in a bad sense, but just, we tend to just look, right? And not be engaged, right? So if you're going to use social media, make it valuable for you by commenting, liking, engaging with people, right? That are in your sphere, right? Don't just engage with the agents, right? Engage with people in your sphere, congratulate them on their life successes. Oh, you saw somebody post that they have a baby. Oh my gosh, great opportunity to then write them a card, send them like a little coffee gift card or something, right? Because they're going to need it. So be a creator, right? Say you're going to do one post and engage for 5 minutes with other people's stuff, do your post, and then check out, right? Set little timers for yourself on your phone if you need to. Because a lot of even agents that do a good job and get business from social media, right? That doesn't mean you need to have constantly be checking in and have those notifications buzzing you all the time. Have a set time to do your social media check on your time block, right? Or maybe in your catch up time, and then stick to that. The
Yeah,
post will still be there in 2 hours.
yeah. If you time block when you're going to do social media, or just have at least some idea, then you can use it more efficiently instead of just the mindless scroll, and then you get sucked into, I don't know, watching some video that doesn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, some video about a life hack on how to do something that's actually much more complicated, right, than it needs to be.
Right, right,
Right, and use your phone settings, right? Now the phones have these little profiles you can switch in between to have a do not disturb profile, right, on the top, and you only let certain apps give you notifications. It's amazing. So use that. Use it when you're doing your lead gen time, right? So that you can stay focused on calling people, right? And if you miss a call from somebody, guess what? You can call them back afterwards and they'll be like, oh, thanks so much for calling me back, right? Because sometimes you're in appointments, sometimes you got personal stuff going on, right? If it's important, people will leave a message.
yeah. So the only people who get through my phone after 7 p.m. are in my favorites list. All the agents on our team, Nora, my parents, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep, absolutely.
That means I can check my messages if I want to, but I I don't have to. Yep.
Correct. Correct. And that's, I think, all for it. So you can scan this to get the deck if you want, but I will also follow up, email all of you guys who attended to get you the deck and the recording. So thanks so much for attending. We have other classes on our YouTube page. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, but we will have time too if anyone wants to ask any specific questions. We would love to help you with those too.